So this is sort of our second season. Really? Come on. You start. Go ahead. What do you have to say, Josiah?
So anyways, you got these three guys, right? Mm-hmm. They started a band. Green Day.
Okay, sick. You got anything else to say about Green Day, or that's it? That's your only...
No, I felt like sabotaging you for some reason. I don't know why. I'm just feeling antagonistic right now.
Well, I think you're coming off recording a special episode of the podcast with your brother. And so maybe I'm now getting like some kind of little brother treatment. Like that's sort of where
I think so.
Your pod brain's at.
When is your birthday? Are you the little brother or am I?
I'm March 1st.
March 1st. So you're
85.
Older than me.
Yeah. So you're the little brother.
So
you
I'm
fuck.
the little brother.
Yeah.
But I'm lashing out trying to become the alpha still.
Right. But I flipped you on your back and I'm making you smell my dick or my asshole or...
You did do that when I was at your house.
Yeah. That's just how the fam hangs out, you know? So we listen to Drake.
Yeah.
Do you just like inhale some LaCroix or whatever? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, exactly.
Little brother shit.
Yeah, I did. We recorded exclusive. This is actually a great way to plug the Patreon if you want to listen to an incredibly awkward discussion about ejaculate with my brother, who's 7 years my junior. Here I thought, oh, we both grew up listening to MXPX. We both grew up going to youth group, and this is a perfect opportunity to talk about this strange MXPX song that's on a Passion of the Christ Songs Inspired By CD, and it's MXPX featuring Mark Hoppus. I thought, oh, this is a perfect thing to talk about with my brother. Little did I know that it would pretty much be all about like sexuality and semen and shame. So it's really a journey.
It's amazing that you guys went through that journey together. I personally, at the time of this recording, have not even listened to that episode. So I don't know about your shame yet, and I'm looking forward to discovering it.
It's definitely something you have to steel yourself for. Like,
okay.
You can't just casually listen to it, I don't think. It's very...
Now, maybe,
it's very deep.
Maybe you talk about this on the podcast episode that's already out on our Patreon, but were there multiple Passion of the Christ soundtracks? Because, yeah, it's from a record called Passion of the Christ, songs. So,
songs.
That's
a very Blink-182 title.
That is a very Blink-182, greatest hits. So,
yeah, it's there. This was not actually a soundtrack. I think they did at least one, maybe two normal CDs. And then I think the whole record industry wanted some of that sweet Christian music dough.
Oh, yeah.
Back then. So they just did like songs inspired. Remember when they used to do like songs inspired by the movie? I never really understood that idea.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was just a way to make more money during an era of sort of insane growth for the industry. Like the people were buying so many fucking CDs that they just were like compiling things that didn't need to be compiled in a way that sort of made no sense, but that they could ultimately get you to buy a bunch of the same songs again in a different format. I think that's maybe it.
Well, my little brother was not excited by this because of his age, but I think you will be excited. When I was reading the All Music entry about the Passion of the Christ songs CD, there's a song with Scott Stapp on, like it's a Scott Stapp solo song. But then when I looked it up on All Music, his backing band is the Tea Party.
No, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
And your brother didn't care because he's a baby.
Yeah, I mean, he's sort of like, he went, oh, yeah, or something like that. He mostly wanted to talk about his bodily functions.
And actually, a little sort of behind the scenes, you did tell me that you had to do a bit of editing on that podcast because it maybe got too kind of familiar. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, I think normally when we have a guest, it's like they have their guard up enough that even when you and I talk, there's enough of a self-filter going on. Mm-hmm. But I would not recommend doing something like this with like your brother because there's so much editing involved and so much back and forth. Like, is this sentence okay? Am I going to offend this person if I said this? And it ended up being a much larger project than I anticipated. And actually, right before we started recording today, because the episode hasn't come out yet, I missed a call from him which I'm sort of glad. I just don't want to even hear from him until it comes out because I don't want to have to change anything else.
You're just ignoring him until the episode's out. But just to be clear, again, this is an episode on the Patreon, so it's behind a paywall, but you were still worried that like maybe like an uncle that you made fun of might hear the pod or something?
I don't know what. Yeah, I mean, it was more my brother worried about it. I don't know why. I mean, hopefully enough people who know both of us are going to sign up for that sweet Patreon to get the scoop on Jordan's cum.
Well, there are a lot of Hugheses, right? Like you have many brothers. In my mind,
I have two brothers. I would say it'd probably be really good if my entire family didn't hear this episode or any of the pod, actually. Well, yeah, but I do think this is a really, truly good time to say subscribe to us on Patreon. I saw some people on Twitter were complaining about something to do with Patreon fees in the last week. I'm just going to go ahead and say right now, whatever they're talking about, just ignore it. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. You don't worry about the fees on other stuff when you put your credit card in there. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
You want to hear a couple more extra hours of us talking about this garbage? Sign up for the Patreon.
It's true. And you can enjoy, I think a truly seasonal Blink-182 tribute in that, we're not just talking about Christmas, but you guys are talking about Christ. And I think that it's important for Blink-155 to sort of stake our claim or sort of plant our flag in the war on Christmas. Yeah. And say that like we are a devoutly Christian podcast. Maybe we should be in some iTunes category that probably has like higher revenues or whatever.
I am also a little surprised we haven't been flagged explicit yet on iTunes.
It's just because enough people aren't listening yet. Because there's
and again, more things. You need to like and subscribe and review us on iTunes. I'm constantly posting shit on our Twitter, Blink155 Pod. I'm constantly posting shit on Instagram.
Yeah, we're
building a whole world. We're building like an empire here.
It's if you're only listening to 2 hours plus of Blink-155 content a week, you are barely scratching the surface of the universe that is sort of being constructed around this podcast. It's true.
Like exactly. Next year when we get forget getting like a TV show, we're gonna get our own network like Oprah. And you're gonna be like, where do these guys come from who have their own TV network that's all dedicated to discussing the minutia of 90s pop punk? Yeah. And everyone else around you is going to be like, what the fuck, dude? Where were you? Like I'm already over it, basically. So you should be supporting us so much now that you can already think that we jumped the shark next year. Yeah,
it's true. We want you to be able to sort of really, be as big of a sort of snotty dick as possible in 2018.
That should always be your goal.
So, I mean, this is one of several tentpole podcasts that we're putting out in this sort of special holiday season. Again, you got the Christ episode and this episode, which dude, I'm struggling to find a way to just say the title. Do you have a good transition that sort of popped up in your mind? Hey, look, today's the day that The Last Jedi came out, and the first movie to ever come out in that series was called A New Hope.
Wow. That was easily the worst one yet.
Yeah, that was really fucking bad, man.
There's a lot of ways to put a new hope into a sentence, too. You were talking about New Year's resolutions and stuff.
Oh.
But I didn't want to jump in because you've created this mess for yourself with every episode.
Maybe this is the episode that I finally am sort of free from the shackles of trying to find a way to say the title. I couldn't do it, man.
Yeah.
So I couldn't remember if I suggested this or you suggested this. So who gets kind of the blame?
It's sort of a hybrid. It's like I suggested it, but because I was I was becoming you. Like you're the older brother, I'm becoming you. Because I said, why don't we do it this week because the new Star Wars is coming out?
Wow.
And then you were like, that is so on the nose. What are you, me?
Yeah. And now all my tweets are all like really cool irony bro shit. And all the cool weird Twitter accounts follow me. Yeah. We're just sort of slowly melding.
And all that I do is like just post about the ice bucket challenge.
just I think it's important to mention that I never tweeted about the Ice Bucket Challenge and never did the Ice Bucket Challenge.
Well, I mean, come on. Yeah, actually, I have Twitter open right here. I'm just going to quickly do one little thing.
What do you going to search? Say something. It's not going to happen.
Sam
He's not going to find anything.
Sutherland.
Never happened.
I'm going to search Coney.
I don't think.
Oh, no results.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a clean feed.
I feel
man.
like I've tweeted about Coney a lot of times.
Yeah, but it's probably been like
probably like today I tweeted about Coney. Also, the other thing about Twitter for me is that like I just like black out and post the dumbest shit ever, and then people talk to me about my tweets, and I don't even remember doing them.
I spend half an hour thinking about every single tweet that I post, and they're all just like
you spend half an hour trying to figure out how to use high-fivingly as an adjective.
Yeah, it's difficult, man.
That is a pretty good adjective.
Also, I find the new character limit to be really stressful because I don't want to use it, but they don't tell you when you've reached. Like I'm very anti
Oh my God.
280 characters, but like it just sort of lets you write, and then you look at it. And then as opposed to writing maybe 160 characters and having to edit down, I'll write 200 characters and have to edit from it. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, I actually. I try to play it cool, like I don't care about my tweets. But when the 280 first came out and I didn't want to do 280, I remember pasting one of my tweets into like a word processor and counting the characters.
Okay, that's shameful.
That's pathetic.
Yeah, so we haven't talked about this at all on the pod, or I think in our private lives, which is pretty limited to just talking about the pod. But I'm kind of coming into this episode under the assumption, and I think we sort of framed it fairly well here, that you probably are like not a Star Wars fan. Am I correct? Or where do you sort of land?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, first of all, it's really funny that we're doing this one this week. Like not just because I picked it as like an evil boardroom guy worried about SEO, thinking like, yeah, these fucking idiots. We'll just do like a in memoriam Carrie Fisher tweet, and then people will click on the episode. And I'm right, and that's also how they're marketing the movie.
Yeah, there's a 100% chance that anyone listening to this podcast clicked through, from one of our socials that had a. Like what the Smash Mouth style RIP montages though, so it's like an RIP Carrie Fisher but with the Blink 155 logo.
Or maybe I can take one of the piano covers and do like a really soft focus montage photo album of her with like Mark Hoppus jacking off in the background or whatever.
If you could, yeah. This is definitely going to be the cummiest Carrie Fisher tribute. And
that's saying a lot.
Yeah, totally.
Before I get to my own opinion, I was just going to say, though, it's really funny because just a couple weeks ago or last week or whatever, we were talking about how pop punk goes hand in hand with like baseball and Star Wars.
Yes, they are.
And like pop punk people love Star Wars. And I feel like our guest this week is also like a big time. Oh, are you there?
Baseball. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, my brother just tried calling me again.
Yo, tell him to fuck off, dude. He can't take out whatever weird thing he said about your family. It just lives in there. Like it's, but no, it's true. I mean,
our guest this week, he's also a big time baseball head, right?
Yeah, we addressed this interview. So I have Jake Goldsby, who's an actor, used to have a podcast called Sportsfeld, and he was on Degrassi, which you made me ask him about. So we talk about Degrassi as well.
Hell yeah!
But he and I know each other from like baseball / pop punk Twitter, and basically that's like there's no Venn
bless
diagram.
You, Ashley. I just heard Ashley sneeze. I think.
Oh yeah, she's sneezing. Josiah said, "Bless you."
Gesundheit.
Oh, she also just chatted you, so you can have a conversation with the whole household.
I'm fucking multitasking right now. I'm also texting my little brother.
Oh, shit. So if this podcast feels sort of distracted, it's because we're engaged in multi-platform conversations with the same people, but on different planes right now.
I feel like I thrive on being distracted, though.
But I mean, since like right now you are talking to my wife through my headphones. I'm yelling at her in a real room. She's yelling at you through a microphone in this room, and the two of you guys are also chatting on the internet.
No, I only chat with him.
Okay, sorry. So, Okay, so yes, pop
point
punk,
is,
baseball, Star Wars. Yeah, so our guest this week absolutely sort of proves that. Huge Star Wars fan, huge Blink fan, huge baseball fan, huge Jays fan.
So, like, I accidentally, when I made that generalization, I was accidentally making fun of him. But I was trying to make fun of you, but I accidentally made fun of him.
Okay, well, I mean, that's fine. Like, he can take it. He's done fine for himself. He doesn't need your approval.
Jordan says sorry for interrupting the pod.
Okay.
I guess I just interrupted the pod again to say that.
Not to like...
So, yeah, all I'm trying to say is, like, it's weird because Star Wars is very pop punk, and I still don't really understand why. Maybe we'll figure it out this week.
Yeah. Maybe we will.
You think that I'm a cold-hearted hater, and I mostly am.
Yeah.
But I actually feel like my opinion of Star Wars is just that I'm kind of indifferent towards it.
Which, when it comes to something as big as Star Wars, like, might as well be hating it, though. Don't you? I feel like you're probably treated that way, are you not?
I'll be honest, I have tickets to see it on Thursday.
Oh, well, you're a fan.
Mostly because my wife wants to go, but I always go see them. And I remember when the original ones, the Jar Jar trilogy came out, like, I was like big time Star Wars fan back then because I was like a boy who didn't really have any hobbies yet, like everyone was a Star Wars. Like, I just liked toys, so I had like a bunch of toys.
Well, I mean, that's also an era, and this is maybe a whole sort of thing about geek culture that we can unpack or not unpack. But when you're a kid, it's such a like incredibly important part of your identity. It sort of just gets handed to you as like a kind of prefab, child's identity to like love Star Wars. But it's like enough of a thing that you can kind of feel like it's yours. What's curious is when
also maybe back then there wasn't so many things to choose from. It's like either you like Star Wars or you like collect Nazi memorabilia. Like, those were the only two options in the 70s. There wasn't like there wasn't the internet to pick and choose some niche identity.
Right. That's, so we're lucky that our families, I guess, chose Star Wars instead of instead of becoming like weird, a family of Lemmys just owning tanks and various sort of pieces of Third Reich iconography.
That would be way cooler.
I know. It would have been sick.
But yeah, I think part of it is like that was like the thing. If you like movies, you pretty much are going to like it. I do like Star Wars, and I like the original trilogy. And I remember, like, because I love Mad Magazine so much, I also like. I feel like I got more into Star Wars just from... This has happened with so many movies, but I got more into the movies just from reading the parodies than from actually seeing the movie.
Right, totally.
Like, I didn't watch The Godfather until, like, maybe 5 years ago, but I already knew the whole story because of, like, Mort Drucker's drawings of it or whatever.
Do you remember what the Mad Magazine, like, names of the parodies for either Star Wars or The Godfather were? Because they're always, like, brutal. Like, they're not even puns. Like, it would be, like, Star Wars, a new dope. And
or, like, ech. They add, like, blech. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
I have, like, literally... probably 300 issues of Mad Magazine. I can start just reading Mad Magazine into my mic if you want. That'd be a good podcast.
I mean, it would be about as engaging as, hour 2 of a conversation about when you fucked grandpa. So
right. No, so I don't know. I mean, I'm interested in it. I didn't mind The Force Awakens. Actually, both movies I've liked while I've been sitting in the theater. I mostly liked, and then I left and was like, immediately forgot about it and felt kind of empty inside.
Including Rogue One? Like, you mean the other new one?
Like, I wish Rogue One, like, if Rogue One had actually been truly dark, it would have been awesome, but I feel like it was just like another Star Wars movie.
What are you talking about? Okay,
no, like, it was dark, but it didn't go far enough. Like, I just wish that it was like, I wish that you left and you felt like you had just watched, like, I don't know, like a Werner Herzog film or something.
Okay, I mean, I'm going to say this because I, at least respect the nerds enough. If someone somehow hasn't seen this, I don't know. But, like, spoiler alert for Rogue One, so stop listening. But, like, everyone dies. Like, how can you... And ultimately, look, it can't really be a depressing movie because it's a movie about them, like, getting the plans that will ultimately lead to the successes of A New Hope. So it was never going to be, truly wrenching. because that would have meant total failure, and total failure was like not baked into the story. But like at some point, did you not feel watching that movie like, holy shit, they're going to kill all of these characters? Like every one of these characters
I loved,
is going to die.
The last 5 minutes I loved, but the rest of it just felt like another, like it felt like one of the prequels until the last 10 minutes or whatever.
Which are
and then I was like,
sick.
Hell yeah. The last 10 minutes were sick, but I don't know. I just think like, I don't know. There's so much to talk about this song, but someone has pointed out on Reddit that Blink-182 is Star Wars.
Okay,
basically.
You're going to have to explain that theory because I'm not immediately following.
Well, the Reddit user Cliche333, Blink and Star Wars share the same destiny. The first albums had some lower quality production but contain amazing original content and are generally loved and praised by fans and non-fans alike. The original Star Wars trilogy. Blink broke up, and then when they got back together, everyone seemed to agree that Neighborhood seemed messy and was not as good as original Blink. But after a couple of years, fans came around, and Neighborhoods enjoyed a new place in fans' hearts and a big presence online. The Star Wars prequels. Then some of the old characters left and were replaced with new ones on California. California reminded us of everything we loved about the original Blink, but some fans complained that it was just an overproduced rehashing of the original that relies on nostalgia. The Force Awakens. And in the mix is Angels and Airwaves, Boxcar Racer, and Plus 44, the darker, more raw, and emotional albums. Some fans say Angels and Airwaves is too slow or redundant for them, while others say it is the best thing Tom has created. Rogue One.
What? No, okay. You can, like, that is such a fucking stretch. Like, if there was individual
Sometimes I read
albums...
things online, and I think maybe getting rid of net neutrality is a good idea.
That's true. Yeah, if Bell Media or the conservative government want to take away posts like that, I'm fine with it. Like you could do that with like here, Blink-155 is totally like the Star Wars trilogy. The first couple episodes were lower quality, but ultimately, you know, built a promising universe of some interesting ideas. And then Josiah went to Amsterdam, and then.
Wow, you've really followed the narrative arc of our podcast.
Yeah.
I like it.
And then when he came back, they decided to add all kinds of new guests, which is like how George Lucas went back. Oh my God, this works. George Lucas went back and added all those like horrible like CGI creatures into the original trilogy, which was like you adding in the Mish Way interview on the Dysentery Gary episode where it sounds like shit.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And then... okay, wait. Maybe it falls apart. I don't know. And then we really like come back and we are bad.
And then then the rest of it is we sell the rights to our podcast to Disney for billions of dollars.
Right. And now there is a Blink-155.
And it's hosted by Joel McHale and the guy from
Chris
Midnight.
Hardwick. Chris Hardwick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just two fucking human faux hawks host it now.
How much do you think we would have to pay Chris Hardwick to do like one episode of a Blink-155 rap show?
Oh, after Blink-155?
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Yeah, where like him and I guess members of Blink-182 would like sit around. Or I guess it'd be him and
Chris
us.
Hardwick seems to me like the kind of guy who just like loves St. Patrick's Day too much. Like he just like goes all out for fucking St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, totally.
No, but the reason I found this fucking stupid theory, which I agree is like pretty dumb, and I just feel so... Honestly, this episode is the first time where I'm kind of like, what am I doing right now?
This episode?
Yeah, because I'm just like, it's so geeky. Ugh, it makes me... I need to take a shower.
Okay, so...
But I was going to jokingly say that California is like the new ones and that it feels like it's just like a slicker, big budget rehash of old ideas.
I mean, it is an interesting comparison. I mean, I think it's not the way I feel about like The Force Awakens and Rogue One, but if you and they were better received than California, but ultimately, yeah, it's like trying to remind you what you loved about a thing from 30 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, it's just like pure nostalgia, which I also honestly did really like when I first watched The Force Awakens. I was like, oh damn, like they did nail the aesthetics of it, but then there's just aspects of it that I don't love, and I'm a little bit worried about these fucking porg thing. Is that what they're called, porgs?
Yeah, they look sick.
Oh, they look so bad. Everything looks so CGI to me, too.
I know.
Maybe it's just, I don't know.
I worked from home today, so I actually put The Force Awakens on, like, in the background to watch for the fucking dozenth time or whatever. And even though there's, like, great practical effects and that, it did remind me of, just how soulless contemporary sort of big budget sci-fi looks. Because that was the incredible thing about, in particular, like A New Hope, right? Is it was this like lived in, dirty, grimy film. I mean, this is not an original thought and it gets harped on a lot in terms of what people loved about that movie. But, nothing looks like that. And I mean, they try to recreate that grime, but it's an impression of something,
It's really weird how they can't figure out how to make CGI look real. Like, I hated, obviously, I'm also really paranoid this week about nerds. Like, we already have like this fucking fact checker guy who's always like, oh, I'm surprised you didn't mention this on this episode or whatever. There's already at least one out there, and I know now we're touching on Star Wars, we're touching on all this stuff, and I just feel like, I mean, fine, bring it on. I'm willing to be scrutinized for not knowing a lot about this stuff, but I am a little scared of everything I say.
Well, I'm excited to see what kind of like offensive nerd shit you're gonna
yeah,
get in trouble for.
That's why I just was about to say, I feel I need to say this preamble. I know Jurassic Park and Jurassic World is not sci-fi. Is it? Or is it sci-fi? I don't know.
Who cares? But were you going to say the new Jurassic World trailer?
I haven't even watched it because the actual Jurassic World, there was one scene where there was like a dinosaur that wasn't doing any major movements, and you could tell it was practical effects. And for that one scene, I was like, I love this movie. And then the rest of the movie just looked like fucking Nintendo Switch graphics.
Well, this is the thing, and oh man, I know we're on a tangent now. The thing that's so brilliant about the original Jurassic Park is the way that, like, unlike, I think, a lot of films, and you're seeing this again, there's a return a little bit in films like that to trying to use more practical effects. But I feel like the original Jurassic Park is the pinnacle of this, where it mixes practical effects and CGI. So the first time you see any of those dinosaurs, except for the like big brontosaurus scene, they're all practical, right? They're puppets, they're whatever. And so your brain is like, that's a real raptor. And then a few scenes later, when the raptors are CGI or the T-Rex or whatever, your kind of brain is already registered them as existing in an actual physical space, whereas now everything is just so gigantic off the top.
Right.
Anyway.
So you think that's why it looks like Roller Coaster Tycoon video game or something?
Yeah, exactly. So,
okay, sorry.
Welcome to our Jurassic Park CGI podcast.
Well, I do have another question, though. This is like way off the rails, but I didn't take too many notes about this song because I don't know why. I couldn't find too much stuff about it. But why do some like CGI or graphic design things seem tangible and real? Like, for example, when you play Mario Brothers 3 and you land on the ground, it feels like you're landing on the real ground. So why can't they just make like a 3D dinosaur look like a real dinosaur? Or like that lady that they visit in the bar in The Force Awakens, who's like a weird, like wise creature lady. Why does she look like a fucking screensaver? Why can't they make her look? They figured it out for Mario. The ground looks like, I feel like I'm jumping on a little guy when I jump on him.
I don't know, man. Maybe, Disney just doesn't have the same advanced technology that Nintendo had in 1991 or whatever.
They don't have the budget, I guess.
That's it, man. They just don't have the money. So did you love this song, like, back in the Dude Ranch days? Like, how did you feel about A New Hope as, like, a child getting into this record?
For some reason, and I've still never figured it out, this is probably my least favorite song on Dude Ranch.
Really?
I would say it's not a bad song necessarily, but it's the one I would always skip.
Huh.
And I feel like maybe it's because it's so long.
That's the thing that surprised me going back to it, is like it's basically a 4-minute song, and it's fairly repetitive.
And like the intro, there's really no guitar riff, but it repeats so much regardless.
It reminds me,
good reason.
Yeah, it reminds me of like writing songs when you were in grade 9 or 10, where you'd be like, "This is sick chord progression. Let's play it 16 times, and then we'll start the verse." And then you'd finish it. You'd be like, "Cool, that song was 3.5 minutes. We're really good at writing a full song."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I mean, I don't hate it. It's just I don't love the chord progression, and I also like I've been thinking about it today. I don't know why the lyrics bug me. Maybe it's because it reminds me of comic book guy from The Simpsons, just like listing off little references and but like I don't mind songs that are written about fictional characters. That's obviously like a very pop punk trope. But I don't know. There's just something about the lyrics that bug me.
I mean, it's a very clever song, and there actually aren't a lot of other Blink songs that are, this is like, it's like punny and referential. It's almost like a song that would be really big on YouTube, like in 2014 or something.
Right. It's like epic rap battles between Mark Hoppus and...
Yeah, like this feels like one of those like, cringy, like channels that would have like way more subscribers than we could ever dream of for, just like Star Wars pop punk song. And it would be this.
And it is like when we get to the covers, of which there are many, I'll warn you now.
Okay.
But it is like a precious YouTube song now, basically.
Yeah, but I will say this. It's definitely not like in my top 5 Blink-182 songs.
Wait, this is the first Blink-182 song to not make it into your top 5.
I know. So that is in and of itself fairly damning, but I don't know that I think it's the worst song on Dude Ranch. I don't know that it's a song that I would go to on my own, whereas like other later songs like Lemmings or like I'm Sorry, those are songs that I've like listened to on the regular, whereas A New Hope, I felt like I was going back to it today.
Right, yeah. I think it's like one that a lot of people skip. However, it's also one that a lot of people on Reddit are saying like, oh, that's secretly my favorite, or like that's a underrated one. I did copy and paste one comment that I found really upsetting on Reddit where somebody said, it does seem to be a vastly underrated track. Always been one of my favorites. In fact, my daughter, who turns 2 next month, is named Hope. So I think somebody named their daughter after this song.
What? They named their daughter after a song that's just the title of a movie?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So
that's very strange. That's like being like, I named my kid Gary after the Blink-182 song Dysentery. No, wait, that's not it. That's not the same.
No, it's like, it's almost hard to imagine what it's the same as.
Yeah.
Like, it's really like, it's like bad reference inception.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't even, I'm searching and I honestly can't, I can't do it.
Yeah, it's just mostly really kind of weird. Like, I think, I don't know. People name their kids after all kinds of things, and I get that, like, kids' names are, like, everyone's kid is named, like, fucking, I don't know, Game of Thrones now.
No, everyone's
like,
kid
is... My son, Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad Hughes.
Everyone's kid is named, like, Jack now.
Yeah, and I feel like that's almost
Everyone's
better.
Jack and Henry. Like, that's every kid.
Yeah. Oh, totally. There's so many. I know a lot of people whose kids, but I think they name their kids Jack after jacking off.
Yeah, as opposed to embarrassingly naming your kid after a Blink song. So, can you imagine being that kid, just being like, "Oh, like you're actually named after a song by a pop punk band that mostly sang about fucking family members and war criminals."
Like the guy's like, "I've actually never seen Star Wars."
Yeah,
I just thought,
but like, this is a song about unrequited love with a fictional character from a '70s sci-fi film.
And that's the other thing I wanted to... Well, there's a few things about the lyrics I want to say, but first of all, maybe it's just because it's in the context of Dude Ranch and in the context of Blink, but when I first heard this song, I just always... My mind filled in the gaps, and I thought, oh, this song is about him, like, jacking off to Princess Leia and, like, having a sexual fantasy about her.
No, but it's about a full romantic relationship, I feel like.
But, like, so is there... I didn't read too deeply, but I guess there's not really that much, like, deeply sexual stuff.
There's no, like, sexual innuendo in this. It's like, I fall asleep with you and I wake up alone, I guess. But that's just, like, you know, he wants to be her man. She's the exact kind, whatever it is, anyway, Alderaanian that he needs. Which is, like, to be honest, a fairly advanced conjugation of, like, you know... knowing that she's from Alderaan. I don't know.
Right. It's high-fivingly good.
It's, yeah. I would spend a lot of time on Twitter trying to verb up
I hope that you start using high-fivingly. I just invented it on the spot for you.
Well,
perfect.
As a way of mocking my online earnestness, yeah, I'm into it for sure.
But you could subvert it by turning it into just true earnest hours.
Yeah, that's it, man. I'm steering into the skid on my earnestness online. Like I have a YouTube channel. We've been through this before. Like this is
and a newsletter now. This is news to me.
It's true. Newsletter. Do you subscribe? I don't think you've subscribed yet, actually.
You can see, can't you? Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah. If you can subscribe at some point when I'm like telling a boring anecdote.
Yeah, like during this. Okay. Yeah. So I always assumed that there was some. I guess it's just because of who was singing it and what the context of the album was. Like, there's all these sketches about like making animals drink your pee, and the album is named after cum, as we've established. I always assumed there was like this weird sexual undertone, which is why when Carrie Fisher died last year, some of these YouTube videos I found were like uploaded in tribute to her, and I was like, is this a bit of a weird tribute song?
Yeah.
But I guess it's not. I mean, it still obviously kind of is, isn't it? Like,
I mean, it's goofy, but yeah, you're right. On an album that is littered with sort of puerile sexist commentary, this is like maybe the most respectful depiction of a youthful romantic relationship on this whole record. Yeah. Like he would do anything for her. Like he's going all over the universe trying to make things right with Princess Leia. I think it's very sweet.
It is pretty sweet. I will say that what you just mentioned reminds me when I was looking at it on Genius, the thing that I really winced at and cringed at was the annotation of the line, "I'd even walk naked through the deserts of Tatooine." I just want to read you these notes and just see if you feel the same shame that I do. It is really like, imagine, I don't know how to do an impression of the comic book guy, but that's who I hear reading this.
Okay, yeah. You should try. Sorry, can you try to do a comic book guy?
Honestly, I can't even remember what. And I watch New Simpsons. I don't remember what he sounds like.
It would be like, because I have it open as well. Tatooine is a desert planet. No, that's not
good.
it.
Yeah, that's really good.
That can reach temperatures of 54 degrees Celsius, 130 degrees Fahrenheit. No, that's not it, man. That's not it.
That was pretty good. Well, I mean, it'll take too long if we both try to do this, and also. What if we accidentally do a racist Apu accent?
Oh,
I want to do that.
I haven't seen that movie yet. Have you seen that movie yet?
Yeah, it's not very good. But
is it
it's
not?
like it's a good point that's executed very poorly. In my opinion.
Okay.
But
Is that
I'm
just
a white man.
Is that just because you're a racist?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, it's very like 90s. It seems like a early Michael Moore movie.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's very, like there's lots of like zany, like I feel like there's like comic book graphics that pop up when they could be. It's a serious thing that's treated like a Michael Moore movie.
Okay.
I don't love it.
So you're actually even more not racist than the film.
Exactly.
Okay. I get
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Sick.
I'm the white savior.
Good critique.
Anyways, so there's this thing. So the explanation of the lyrics, that even walk naked through the deserts of Tatooine. You've already said that they list the temperature. Notably, it is both Luke and Anakin Skywalker's home planet. Blah blah blah. And then at the bottom, underneath the photo, it says, "Mark declaring his willingness to traverse the scorching planet is a testament to his affection for Princess Leia, considering he'd almost certainly die in the process."
That's amazing.
There's a link to like that website Quora about like what is the highest temperature a human being can survive. So,
really?
Yeah, it's like so nerdy.
I also, going through Genius now, I like that it sort of answers the question. So the chorus of like, who's laying there by your side? According to the original trilogy, the only films to include Princess Leia at the time of this song's release, the likely candidates are protagonist Han Solo, whom she later married, and Luke Skywalker, who was later revealed to be her brother. Either way, it's not Mark.
Now, do you think Princess Leia did have coitus with Luke off screen?
See, I think like that's absolutely something that happened in those films, and sort of like when they try to, and I'm sure again there's someone listening to this podcast who knows this better than me, because like I'm a huge fan of these movies.
I just remembered something. I like to point out how much I was into it before I like got into other things.
Yeah.
When the prequels came out, I remember I did read at least one novel.
Oh yeah. I read
I don't know which
only
one.
Star
I think
Wars
I read
novels.
one of the most popular ones.
Yeah, I read
I remember reading it.
I read a lot of Star Wars short story collections. So all of the Star Wars authors, like the biggest names in the game, would write, tales from the Mos Eisley Cantina, and it would be, a 50-page short story about one of the aliens that you see for half a second in those. So there was Tales from Jabba's Palace was another great one. Anyway, so I was heavy into those things. And people will say oh, they knew what they were doing and they were writing for this larger story or whatever. But there's absolutely no way that when you watch Empire Strikes Back and Leia kisses Luke, that's not supposed to be sexual. And then to sort of write that backwards and be brother and sister, that's, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I have a question because you have a sister, right?
I do.
I've muttered this in conversation with people, and sort of it has blown back in my face. Usually, it was when I was drunk, so I think I can navigate it more carefully.
Oh, so you're going to try it out now, into a microphone?
Yes, exactly.
Sick.
But when I was in youth group, there was a kid at my church who I really didn't like. He was a drummer. He's just kind of a douchebag. But he would always, during church, I'd look over, and he would, hold hands with his sister during church with, interlocking fingers.
Oh.
And I've brought this up with people before. Isn't that weird? I've always find it weird when siblings are, too affectionate in a strange way, and then people have gotten really mad at me and said, oh, you're not close to your family members?
No, that's weird, man.
That's not, you would never interlock fingers, would you?
No, I don't even hug my sister. I just shake her hand. I give her a firm handshake.
Right.
I say, Godspeed. I don't think I've ever interlocked fingers with my sister.
Someone also, accused me of being homophobic because...
Oh, because it's your brothers or something?
Yeah.
No, what? That's weird. I'm sorry. If you're a friend of the pod and you interlock fingers with your sibling, whether they are any gender.
Yeah,
it's that's weird. That's super weird. I don't care if you guys are brothers or sisters or anything.
I feel like there should be some sort of weird. I don't know. I just get in general. I feel like it's odd when people are too close with their siblings and there's not at least some competitive animosity.
Yeah. Yeah, you should have
for them to try to argue that Leia is kissing Luke because of anything other than wanting to bone.
Yeah, no,
I don't know. That doesn't really work for me.
Yeah, no, kissing is boning. Is that a Katie Notopoulos tweet or whatever? Kissing is sex, don't at me or something.
Oh, probably.
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to, as I was sort of stumbling towards it as a joke, I realized I didn't want to be a joke thief. Is all. Just concerned. But no, knowing people who would interlock fingers in church is super fucked up and disturbing to me.
Right? Yeah. Okay, good.
The fact that it's in church somehow it makes it extra spooky to me because church spooks me as a cool atheist.
Right, yeah, you get called out on the Sclusy.
Yeah, so this is just my theme for the week is my absence of belief.
The whole purpose of this entire project is for me and my brother to bring you to the flock.
That's it. So
both of us with interlocked fingers, we're going to call you in.
Call me and my sister in, she and I are going to sort of...
Yeah, you have to start at least hugging your sister, at the very least.
I hug my sister, just not all the time.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
Yeah, it's just
I mean, that said, Jordan constantly sends me dick pics and stuff as a joke.
Yeah.
And it's really upsetting.
Yeah, well, that was the other thing. Is you were telling me how sort of jizzy your podcast with him gets, and that's not I don't want to engage with my family about any of that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't necessarily want to either.
It was just,
but I didn't enjoy it.
Right, you did enjoy it.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Anyways, where were we?
We were going through the Genius annotations. I feel like there's nothing else really great in there.
The only other notable thing is people thought it was clever that he said drinking Colt 45s with Lando, because that's a reference to an ad that Billy D. Williams did for Colt 45.
I think it's clever. We talked about this a little bit in the interview with Jake. but I didn't get that reference until today, pretty much. Like, I didn't think about
me
it
neither.
at all. Like, as a kid, whatever. And then it's only, I think, in the last year, as I discovered malt liquor videos on YouTube, thanks to you, that I even saw those Colt 45 videos, which are obviously classics. And I'm sure there are tons of people that have seen them a million times, but like, I had not seen the Billy D. Williams Colt 45 ads.
I didn't know that either, and I actually kind of like it less now that I know that, because I thought it was just like cool, like hanging out. Like, I think this is Sig era Mark too, or like right after Sig era. The thought of him like Sig era Mark drinking a 40 of Colt 45 is really cool. But then when I know that it's just like a nerdy little like in joke, I don't like it as much.
Really? See, I to me, it deepens the world of this song, because now there's sort of a meta layer to it where Lando didn't drink Colt 45, Billy D. Williams did. So,
Right.
you know, it's kind of like a Cabin in the Woods style.
Oh God, that is the ultimate nerd. Nerds getting excited thing.
Nerds love Cabin in the Woods because it's so good, man.
Again, like I probably would have enjoyed it if I hadn't read like 2 years worth of blog posts about how it was the best, like subversion of horror tropes or whatever.
It's pretty sick, to be honest.
If you just put tropes inside of tropes, you're not really subverting anything.
Just tropes on tropes on tropes, man.
Yeah, but so I don't know. I will say this. Unless you have more to say about the lyrics, I don't know.
Just that they're great, and I like them.
My favorite part of the song is the breakdown where there's no singing.
The breakdown, it just becomes like a Green Day song. Like, it totally shifts and basically turns into like Longview for a little bit. It's kind of, it adds to the sort of length of a song that is already a little too long. I don't want it.
Oh, I like it. I think it's like the only part that's interesting because I love the like pop punk guitar licks. And I love the way that it's like an actual breakdown for a second. Like you could theoretically throw down and pick up change to it for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it gets really fast. I don't know. I like it. But I was going to just play that part because this song actually had a life before Dude Ranch. It was on one of the 3 Buddha tapes.
Right. Okay. I don't think I've ever actually heard any of the demo versions. I really half-assedly tried to find one today, but I was like, if it's worth it, Josiah will fucking play it. Yeah, exactly.
But I'm just going to play this part because especially Scott is just like, I feel like we're in a bit of a Scott season right now.
Is it Scott season?
I mean, I think we forgot to recognize it when it started, and it's about to end. Hopefully,
okay.
But it has been Scott season without us. Maybe he's been like walking with a pep in his step, as he is a temp or whatever. No, I'm kidding, Scott. Yeah, but he really does like. He's just like a beast in terms of propelling these songs forward. Like they feel like they're like rolling down a hill instead of just being this like tight pro drummer sound.
Yeah, this has the same energy as Lemmings from last week. We just talk about like, and it's not that he's like playing, like he's not like ahead of the beat, but it is just that like propulsion. You're right, is like the only word for it.
Hell yeah.
Okay,
here's part of the demo.
Okay.
I love it. It's so sloppy.
Bring back Scott. Like, yeah, we didn't appreciate Scott season while it was here, but it was real nice.
It was, and yeah, it's just because everything sounds like a warbly cassette.
Yeah, totally.
It's so cool. I feel like lo-fi is like not really in right now, but I love lo-fi.
Yeah.
And it's like to me when you listen to older Blink-182, it's like you're listening to No Age doing a pop punk, like No Age covering Pennywise, and it's so sick.
That's yeah, dude. That's a great way of describing it. It is. There's something like just perfectly of a time about it. And again, it's because like the song is like so good as well. Like, you know, none of those bands like No Age and Pennywise don't have songs that are even as good as this like kind of like okay Blink song.
Yeah, all the cool bands, No Age, Pennywise.
The two coolest bands.
Exactly. But the reason I brought up the demo was not just to play you the sick falling apart nature of it.
Yeah.
But on the demo, I think this is already like a little bit of a savvy marketing move because on the demo, the song was called Princess Leia. Okay.
Okay.
It wasn't called A New Hope.
Yeah.
When the first Star Wars movie came out originally in whatever year that was, you nerds.
77.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Isn't that also like a punk year?
Yeah, it's a very important year. That's why punk and Star Wars are the same. It's also the year that the Jays were like became a franchise. So there's.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so it's like 77 is like punk, Star Wars, and baseball in Toronto.
Actually,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
That's why, dude. That's you wondered if we would unlock it, and we just did.
That's exactly it. Something magic happened that day.
Holy shit, man! That's amazing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So it like literally, and that was not a planned. We did not just like set up the alley oop there. We literally in real time just figured it out.
That's it. Should we stop the podcast now?
I think we can finally die. Thank you.
Thank God. My soul is free. This is like that thing how like ghosts are just sort of people who have unfinished business left on Earth, and
It's like a ghost story.
it's
a good movie.
I don't know that movie.
It's very arty. It's from this year.
Oh, cool.
It's
Yeah.
with Badman Casey Affleck.
I only watch Star Wars films.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a Trekkie.
Yeah. I'm a total Trek boy.
How come there's not a name for Star Wars fans?
Because it's just people, man.
Yeah.
Like this is I started to get into this before, but Star Wars has become part of this, you know, nerd culture phenomena where people who like extremely popular mainstream things, like say Blink-182, build an entire identity around it that somehow like has been sold to them as like alternative or like quote unquote like geeky, when like geek culture should be shit that like no one knows about in a basement that has no light.
Right. Well, there's a perfect Portlandia sketch about that. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's like these like quirky hipster people who are like, I'm so geeky because they wear like glasses or whatever, but then it keeps cutting the things they say to like a dark LAN party where there's like a bunch of fedora men, like. Yeah.
And well, let's not, sorry, the LAN party and fedora men are different men. I just think we should like not all LAN parties. But that is what I like about the song. And even the sort of excessive, dorkish, constant referencing in the lyrics is there because I honestly believe at this time this was like a thing that Mark really liked. Whereas if some YouTube band put this song out today or even 5 years ago, it would have been a blatant attempt to just like generate as many clicks as possible. But
well, you also have to keep in mind that in the 90s, to write a song with this many references, like he would have had to go in like some weird news group or something. Like he wouldn't have. It wasn't so easy to just like name drop all this shit. You couldn't go on Wikipedia or whatever.
Wikipedia is the Star Wars wiki. So let's.
What's that? What's a Wookiee?
But like, when did Phantom
hang on.
Menace?
Before we got like derailed with this important discovery about how punk and Star Wars and baseball were all invented at the same time.
Yeah,
that's huge.
That's huge.
I was gonna say this. So this song was originally called Princess Leia.
Yes.
And when this movie first came out, it was just called Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
And then I guess I was looking this up, but in 1985 they added on A New Hope. But But then there was a big re-release of the trilogy on VHS, like the new edition with some edits or whatever, which I think was like the first time a big release of the trilogy said A New Hope on it. And that was in 1997. And I think that's why they changed the title of the song just in time to like get in on this marketing wave. Because like they changed it from Princess Leia to A New Hope right when Dude Ranch came out in 97.
But it's funny, like, as I remember hearing this, and it was at that point A New Hope, because I actually had that VHS box set, and the name had not really, it still seemed weird. Like, it seemed weird to not just call it Star Wars. And so I thought that, somehow it was like a deeper reference, like that only true heads knew that was the name of the film, because it was like part of this like new wave of releases, which again is not true. But it was sort of how it was positioned. But also, it's a great name for a song about unrequited love. Like, it totally works, even if it was just sort of a slick, bit of marketing to make the song feel extra relevant, in the years to come. Ultimately, it's like a kind of a loving double entendre, maybe?
Could be.
I don't know. That's always how I interpreted it.
Yeah, or it's just some like sneaky, like, let's get on this fucking marketing wave.
Yeah, I'm sure that was it. So I see it through sort of an innocent, uncynical lens. Yeah, of just like, it's just good. But yep.
Yeah.
No, that's you and your brother's podcast, man. That's not this podcast.
He just sent me a photo of himself like giving himself boy cleavage. It's really upsetting.
So
I wish I could turn off iMessage on my computer. Like, it just always pops up.
But like, what are you doing casting stones at people who hold hands in church, which sounds comparatively like a much more sort of reasonably loving relationship than spending 90 minutes talking about cum and then sending each other pictures of your cleavage? I'm just
sorry. I'm screenshotting the photo so I can send it to you.
Okay.
I know. Like, that's the thing. I'm fully aware how hypocritical I am always. I mean, I'm sure that's very frustrating for some people. I'm just a human being, Sam.
Yeah, that's fair. So
I contain multitudes, as they say.
So did you have anything else about this song, or are there other facts? Do we want to get into covers? Like, what's up?
Did you get that photo?
I did. So
I mean, we don't have to talk about it out loud if you don't want.
No, I think you should. So
I think what I'll do is when I promote the Patreon. No, we should just release this photo on our Patreon for subscribers only.
Yeah, so this is yet another reason to
You can get a Jordan Hughes semi-nude.
Yeah, so this is going out to friends of the pod only on Friday, the day this episode goes up, because it's too strange to just put on our existing socials. I
do. There's a couple more things. Like I said, I didn't write much down. We're only at the hour mark now.
Mark.
The one thing is, again, because it's Scott season, there's like amazing videos. There's amazing videos of them playing in Montreal. There's generally amazing videos of them playing this song. And there's one that I found. I'm pretty sure this is one of the Montreal ones. I can't remember. But
I feel like there's a lot of good Montreal videos in this era.
Yeah, there's a video of them doing a Montreal sound check.
Yeah, I feel like people in Montreal were like, smart about capturing the history of that great city through Blink-182 shows.
I also think Quebec in general is, how do I put this? It seems like I don't love a lot of things about Quebec, and there's a lot of terrible bands that come from there. There was this dubstep metalcore band called Skip the Foreplay that came out on Epitaph a few years ago. Everyone's forgotten about it, and it's horrifying.
Yeah.
And hilarious.
And it's French, or it's Quebecois?
Yeah, Quebecois, but like, so Quebecois, like, punk and hardcore seems to be a mystery to me, and it also seems to be firmly stuck in 1999. But I also think that that's a province where like pop punk has never stopped being the coolest thing in the world.
Oh, dude, pop punk and ska just never stopped. There's
50-year-old men who wear like Simple Plan sock bracelet things and like sideways Hurley hats.
Yeah,
in 2017,
and they're cool. Like, those guys are like the coolest guys. Yeah. One of the biggest shows that Junior Battles ever played, which my band, my Insanely Sick band, Junior Battles, was opening for Lagwagon in Chicoutimi in a hotel ballroom. And I mean, it must have been like, it's a few thousand people. And we were in like Chicoutimi, like a tiny fucking town. And that town had enough Lagwagon fans to support like this gigantic show in a really nice hotel, because there was no other like venues for, you know, like medium-sized punk shows. So yeah,
Right,
all that
like,
stuff never died there.
I think pop punk is like skate punk and pop punk and like and you know, like Simple Plan still always releases French language versions of all their songs and albums.
Did not know that.
Yeah, they do.
But that makes so much fucking sense.
I think pop punk is very much alive in Quebec, but I also think that like there's literally no ironic detachment whatsoever, or even any distance. Like I feel like our podcast would fail so badly there because there's nothing funny about it to them.
Right, yeah, and we're just too clever by half is what you're saying.
Right. Or just like, I mean, obviously we're not being ironic, but like I feel like it's crazy to me that you could not laugh at pop punk while also enjoying it.
Right, yeah. It's sort of an important prerequisite for at least enjoying this podcast.
Right. So anyways, I don't remember if this is in Quebec or not.
So that was just like 10 minutes of potentially like totally irrelevant Quebec chatter.
Exactly.
Sick.
Yeah. Welcome to Blink 155, Sam. This I don't remember because there's so many bootleg videos that like people don't credit properly, and then I'll see in the comments someone's like, "How did you even find this? This is from my personal camcorder, and I've never released it." Like, I don't know what's going on. But anyways, this version of New Hope. First of all, Mark used to always sincerely introduce this song and be like, "Who here likes Star Wars?" Like, it totally is like a very earnest song. He's just trying to get those Star Wars claps. But this is right around the time that they were forced to change their name to from Blink to Blink 182. So Tom does a little rant about it at the start.
Okay, sick.
Yeah.
You know what's going on. We were just Blink, and this techno band from Ireland was threatening to sue us if we didn't add or change our name. So we added a number, but they're fucking techno, dude. Okay, this is what I wish. This is what I would have wanted to happen. If they were a fucking glam rock band, that'd be fucking rad, dude. I mean, they should be wearing fucking tight leather. Be like, yo, man. But it didn't happen that way. They were techno. While he's tuning his guitar over there, suck dick. Who's yelling suck dick? I don't know, dude. You guys go to fucking all these guys. I don't know how many times we hear these profanity at the shows. Come on, fuck. This next song
is about Princess Leia.
Shit, fuck, dick, cunt, suck, dick, fuck.
How many guys like Star Wars? Come on. It's about Princess Leia. It's called Princess Leia. Here it goes.
Got a girl.
There's a lot that happens in that in that song intro.
Wow, there's a lot going on. Also, it sounds like there's like two people in the audience because you could so clearly hear like individuals yelling.
And that's why when I watched that, because there's other ones where he says, "Who here likes Star Wars?" and the applause is like rapturous. So I wonder if maybe wherever this was, maybe they don't care about Star Wars.
Yeah.
But I do want to say one thing I learned from this video just right now watching it again, which is I've talked a lot about how this era of Blink dresses like the hip, like Palace dime skateboard, like the hippest of the hip skateboard kid, Xanax dealer kind of type dude.
Yeah.
And the fashion is exactly the same. And the one key difference that has flipped on its head is that instead of back then, all these kids only liked rock music and hated dance music. And now all those kids are all like house music DJs who release like ironic 90s house cassettes.
Yeah, that's true. Hearing him, talk shit on quote unquote techno is, yeah.
That's like the dated thing because like obviously techno is the only cool music left in the world.
That's it, man. There's nothing else. But yeah, just Mark cutting in with like, who likes Star Wars when Tom seems to be already unraveling.
He says like cunt and stuff. Like he's like, it's really weird.
I loved it.
Yeah, well, we can start easing our way into covers now if you want.
I mean, I'm ready. I don't like, I feel like I've kind of said my piece about how Star Wars and this song are good. Nerd culture can be stupid. That's it. That's
pretty dark for you.
I mean, I just more mean what I like about this song is that it reminds me how sort of like just like phony all of this became. Like, whereas this,
Like,
I
I
like
guess-
this song because
yeah.
it feels like a genuinely sort of like just useless and fun expression of fandom, as opposed to like a calculated expression of fandom. I mean, your point about him not being able to look up these references on Wikipedia, you know, is well taken.
I never said that.
You
but
did, you did. You used the word Wikipedia.
I do think something about it that has changed from then to now is that I guess what I think of when I think of like people being too obsessed with Star Wars is like, you know, when you see like a large man walking around the grocery store wearing like fleece pajamas that have the Star Wars logo all over them, and you're just like, do you have no shame whatsoever? Yeah.
So now you're fat shaming on the podcast too.
I didn't say fat, I said large. I never said anything
right.
about width.
Right. So a very tall man in Star Wars pajamas in the grocery store made you mad,
Exactly.
Josiah.
No. So before we get fully into covers,
Yeah.
I would like to take you to the intimacy of a teen girl's bedroom.
Oh no.
Blink-182 Twilighter is the username. Uploaded in 2009,
Oh.
the 10th of March. In those, how many years is that? 8, nearly 9 years. There's been 30 views.
Okay, big
Just want you
31.
to look at these girls. There's not too much to talk about in terms of they just sort of, they do what all young kids do. They just like sing a really bad, corny cover in their room. It's probably like they had too much sugar during a sleepover. They're just having fun. It's not really worth playing, but there's something important I want to show you.
Okay.
So I'm just going to play it, and you can see the one girl's wearing an Alkaline Trio shirt,
Yeah, so
perhaps
I'm
predicting what was going to happen.
Wow, this is the woman who's responsible.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I want like, you don't really need to hear them singing it. It's just like them doing a loud, like their parents were probably just like, good Lord, when will this end?
Okay.
While this is going on. But I'm just going to let you hear them talking at the end. So the video is called The Weird Blink Fans Singing A New Hope. But here's them talking at the end.
Okay.
Sorry. Those were Blink fans singing New Hope.
I am Tommy Don and you are Mark Opus, yes.
I am Tommy
Don and you are Mark Opus, yes.
No, not Mark Opus, yes. Just Mark Opus.
No, not Mark Opus, yes.
Yeah. Bye.
So I don't know if you could hear that very clearly, but the girl in the Alkaline Trio t-shirt calls him Tom DeLonge.
Oh my God. And then they call him Mark Hoppus?
Yeah, like multiple times. Also, at the start of the video, they say, I'm Tom DeLonge, I'm Mark Hoppus.
Do you think the Hoppus thing is like is a Star Wars joke, or do you think they're just doing the same like bad pronunciation for both names?
I think it seems sincere to me, but maybe that's what makes them weird Blink fans. You know?
Oh,
But they did
okay.
it so many times that I think it was just like, I think basically what I'm wondering is if that girl in the Alkaline Trio shirt was you.
It's me, yeah. Well, I have always considered myself a bit of a weird Blink fan. Like I'm just like super random, and
Right.
and I'm like really awkward, and
If there's anything I love, it's random humor.
yeah. Not everyone gets it. Like people think I'm kind of weird, but like
Like, I don't know if you've ever seen The Tick, but the way that he always just says the word spoon to me is like the ultimate comedy.
yeah. So as I'm not literally this woman, but I am spiritually this woman, and that is why I have continued to say just weird Blink fans.
Cool. Okay, well, I just needed to share that with you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So there's going to be a couple more covers than usual this week.
Okay,
There's one that I didn't write down, and I'll tell you why.
that's fine.
So last week, there was this guy who did what I called the worst guitar cover I've ever heard.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of cat noises in the
Peter
background.
Pan Complex.
Yeah.
When I played it, I was kind of lost in the moment of the pod. I didn't really think about like just how feral and upset that cat was in the video. And my cat usually just sits right beside me while I record, and I had like the speakers really loud. And I'm not joking that for 24 hours, my cat was actually pissed at me. And he like was scratching me and walking around the house being territorial, and it was really scary.
Well, your cat has knocked over your recording setup a few times, and I usually edit it out, but in the interview with Jake later in the pod, you'll hear his cat also gets quite frustrated with him doing a Blink-182 podcast and sort of disrupts things. So
I think for one thing, my like sort of projecting voice is already like my cat doesn't like it, but then that feral cat last week, like he was seriously very upset. So I'm sorry to my cat. I won't play the Peter Pan complex again, even though it's funny.
Okay, so you were gonna. So is there a Peter Pan complex cover of?
There is of this song, but like honestly, I can't do it.
Okay, that's fair. I don't know how it'd be better than the last one.
I just don't want him to start like spraying around the house or something. You know, so I'm gonna start with because I mentioned like annoying dads that wear corny Star Wars. This is what this song has really become. Is like there's these two fucking guys. Their username is Wicked Lucky, and they uploaded this on December 30th, paying tribute to Carrie Fisher. They've got 2 acoustic guitars in the garage. They've got Star Wars toys everywhere. They're wearing like Star Wars merch. There's like a BB-8 thing. This is what this song has become.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, ready?
Let's suffer together.
Blowhole, you okay with the BB-8? All right. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so the first thing that I was going to say when they finally started fucking singing was people know that when you do a cover, you don't have to like play it exactly the same as it's written. Like if you're just playing the song acoustic, you don't need to do 16 bars of nothing before you start singing. Like it's just, I was already so mad when they started singing because I was like, they're being too... they're adhering too closely to the actual structure of the song as recorded. And then they proceeded to change the fucking melody.
Exactly.
So they took a perfectly good melody and destroyed it. Like that was wretched. And not like atonal, like they were freestyling.
Oh, what did it remind me of? Almost like kind of post-Beatlesy, like... She's got it in my head.
Yeah.
Like some sort of like rock and roll swagger to it.
What was the name of the band that was it Ming T? Like, the like Austin Powers band?
Oh, yeah.
Like that's what it reminds me of. Like it feels like...
And then I can't make out what the other guy was saying, but when you do like a cover with someone and then you do like some sort of talking between the lines, like that is so disgusting. It's
these jaunty asides. Like these guys for sure are Bare Naked Ladies fans, right? Where like, you get a little bit of playful bants between,
Yeah, or like for a true Canadian reference, Corky and the Juice Pigs.
Oh yeah.
This is very like sometimes if you're like me, you think like, oh, I like alternative comedy. I wish I could go to Just for Laughs. And then you like look at the Just for Laughs lineup, and the whole thing is mostly just like these sorts of musical acts where they just do like talking over it. They're like, oh, now you got the.
It's I was thinking recently how what's Corky's name?
Corky.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah,
Sean Cullen, right?
Oh, yeah. He did something else after, right?
But he's kind of continued to be sort of semi-Canadian famous. And the famous Corky and the Juice Pig song is I'm the Only Gay Eskimo, right?
I honestly can't even remember. I just remember being mad at them being on TV when I was a kid.
Like, isn't that like, maybe I'm like mixing up my like joke bands. But no, that was that was the Corky and the Juice Pigs jam. Was... I see your cat's freaking out again.
He's back. Yeah, I locked him out. He got mad. He's back now.
So
okay, yeah.
So
Gay
like,
Eskimo.
how does like Sean Cullen sort of get to still be famous when like that's literally their famous song? Is it's like both
two slurs?
Both. Yes, it's like that's a short title and it has two slurs in it. Like that's not okay. And like what does Sean Cullen get to do now? I don't know why I'm making this about Sean Cullen, but like that reminds me of that he started trash. Anyway, yeah. So like he gets to do like all kinds of stuff that like I don't know. Someone with more power than
I hated
us will.
that this cover. It seemed like it was like everything in the entire video was from Costco.
Yeah,
it was like a very Kirkland cover.
Well, and again, this falls into the like category of people whose identity clearly is based around like a Disney property that exists to sell them stuff. Like I'm as excited as everyone else that I'm going to get to watch a new Star Wars movie every year for the rest of my life until I die. But the only reason that any of this exists is like to take money from us.
This exists.
Oh yeah. I did a This Exists episode about Star Wars once, where I pretended that I didn't know what it was, and I still get really it was like for April Fool's Day, right? Of course, because
I see.
I know,
clever.
Which fine, but it was like basically about this insanely stupid science fiction film that's all about like space god and like like a
that's funny
pilot dog and stuff, because you can explain the movie in a way that you would any other like kind of B movie, and it sounds completely ludicrous. And I get all kinds of comments, and I was like, and here's the crazy thing, this is the first movie and they called it like episode 4. Like, what is that? That's insane. Like,
I want to do one. Like, I want to do one with you, but about Stranger Things, because I love to pretend that I've never heard of Stranger Things.
Right. But the best thing is,
it's very aggravating for some people.
That's the thing is, like, people aren't even willing to play along. Like, all the comments are, well, it was originally just called Star Wars when it was released. It was only retitled as Episode 4: A New Hope after blah blah blah. And I'm like, right, thanks, man. So when you earlier said that you were afraid of the ire of nerds, I was like, you can't do anything. Like, you can't even joke.
Yeah, it's true. Like, they're just punishers, and like ultimately nothing that we like is. All this stuff is like meaningless garbage. It doesn't do anything for humanity. So, if anything, we should be allowed to have some fun with it. But no, we're not allowed.
No, you can't. You
always forget some detail. Someone always wants to dot your I's and cross your T's, or remind you that you forgot to, carry the 2 or whatever the fuck.
Again, I feel like I'm doing a real like some of my best friends are gay thing. I like literally I saw Rogue One alone because no one wanted to go with me on the day it came out. Like I love these films, but they are massive pieces of corporate media. Like
yeah,
like
it's
we
like
should make fun of
the
them.
Super Bowl.
Yeah,
like you're like
yeah.
Have you heard of the Super Bowl?
Yeah, it's actually. I mean, that is a lot of people's identity, Josiah.
That's true too. Especially these guys, these Kirkland-ass guys.
Okay, so anyway, not down with these Kirklands.
No, me neither. I don't think you're gonna like this one either. It's
Okay.
also a Carrie Fisher tribute that you need to really look at.
Okay.
To breathe it in. Let's see here. This is uploaded by Holocene, which seems familiar to me, but I think. Oh, I'm thinking of Holocene. That's a different thing?
No, none of this. Oh, I can already see this. It's open and it's playing. So you got to introduce this so we can talk about it.
Yeah, Holocene is like a folk group. They have a Patreon for their band.
Is it more successful than ours?
Oh God, I'm gonna check.
Okay.
Really, as it's loading, I'm feeling a lot of shame.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Because, like, I don't know what's worse, having a Patreon for your Blink-182 podcast or having a Patreon for your Blink-182 tribute band. It's all bad.
It's not showing me the number.
Oh, you can
used to show the number.
No, you can in the back end you can make the number private, which we haven't done because Blink-155 believes in radical transparency. But these soft pose dogs, they're afraid of the truth. And of letting.
Well, if they reach their goal, they're at 54% of their goal, and if they reach it, they're going to record one cover of a Paramore song. That's very shitty.
Wow.
They have opened for Blink-182 before, though.
What?
According to here. So anyways, fuck these guys. They suck.
Yeah.
So this is their, and they, of course, they release it. Okay, what day did Carrie Fisher actually die? I'm just curious how quickly people shout out these fucking tributes.
I don't know, man. Also, I mean, I can hear you Googling, so I'll just say this. Nothing is cooler than Carrie Fisher's autopsy that showed that she had like every awesome drug in her system at the time that she died.
Was that real? I wasn't sure if that was real or not.
I think it was. They were like, it turns out she had like MDMA and like more MDMA and weed.
That's crazy.
And like coke in her system. And you're like, cool, man. I mean, sorry. I mean, joking aside.
Yeah. I think that actually it's very sad.
Yeah. Like,
but I'm the mean one, apparently.
I know. As I was saying it, I was like, if anyone listens this far in the podcast, it's actually not. It's sort of like the later we get in the podcast, I start to feel like we're doing exclusive because I can't imagine anyone still cares. So I can say whatever I want about substance abuse and not get in trouble.
That 1 week when you kept saying the N-word was crazy.
I know. I was unhinged.
I will say I like that her ashes are in a giant novelty Prozac pill.
Yeah.
Like, she's funny.
No, she's very, there was some other stuff that she said like around her death, and she just ended up, I mean, she's like absolutely one of a kind. Like, we have not even really addressed this because we've been talking about Star Wars, but like Carrie Fisher, like what was the coolest lady. Like, she ruled, and that's a serious thing.
Yeah, she was cool. And I think she was sort of not worth people shitting out this cheap, lame content within days of her death. So the last video was uploaded 3 days? 3 days after her death. This one was uploaded 4 days after her death, and it has like a studio behind it and everything. So it's like, I don't know, like, I mean, I guess that's just the destiny of all of us. If we're famous and when we die, you just become content, right?
I mean, if we're lucky, we become content. Most of the time, people just, forget about you.
Yeah, and if you're lucky, you could be aggregated.
I hope that someone... Okay, yeah, just play it.
This is like we're accidentally writing a Black Mirror episode. Like, the afterlife is actually just a Twitter moment.
That's an extremely Black Mirror. The afterlife is just a tribute video, like a tribute cover.
We are Halocene.
We've got her in our heads at night when we go to bed. And I know it's not the same, but she's the girl in our dreams. To get her back, we'd do anything for her. We'd search the moons of Endo. We'd even walk barefoot through the deserts of Tatooine. Princess Leia, where are you tonight?
Oh.
It sounds like a Target commercial.
Yeah, I appreciated that they cut the instrumental intro short. But were they changing all the pronouns in that? Was I hearing that correctly?
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Like they made them all like group pronouns. It was
because it was like, and also I like that Halocene has a stupid little like audio tag. At the start of their video.
It's a real like Mike Will made it, producer drop.
But I think people need to realize that like while they're playing this like horribly twee commercial sounding version of this pop punk song, they're all dressed in incredibly cheap and hokey and half-assed Star Wars outfits.
Yeah, like they're the most like on the cheapest rung of the Halloween store, where it's like Space Princess and like
not licensed.
Yeah, like fully like she's dressed as in Space Princess. All the guys are wearing like Space Pilot and like Space Ninja,
Space Cowboy. Yeah,
like it's. So lame for a woman who, again, I was trying to remember what it was, but yeah, when Carrie Fisher died, she wanted her obituary to read "Drowned in moonlight, strangled by my own bra." Like, that woman deserves better than that cover. Like, that is disrespectful to like a relentlessly like badass, outspoken, like cool lady to do this like. Fucking Target commercial.
Like, this makes Pentatonics look cool.
It makes Pentatonics look like terror. Like it's
exactly.
It's like Pentatonics is made up of 5 Scott Vogels. Just
like Pentatonics name is similar to Amoebix, and it makes sense now.
So, yeah,
There is
like,
actually a hilarious. I don't have it loaded, so you'll have to look it up or whatever. But Pentatonics did this like Star Wars tribute, and it's so embarrassing. That one guy, the guy who has like an Aphex Twin tattoo in real life, he's like the scrawnier one with black hair.
I don't know
But he
this,
sings-
man.
Yeah, he has an Aphex Twin tattoo. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
But he sings in this way. It's like, oh, it's so funny. It makes me cry laughing every time.
Yeah, well, every time. Like, how many times do you watch this?
I've watched it. What do you think? What do you think I do? Like, you know what it's like when I'm on mic, and it's like that around the clock.
It's just, the thing is, at least when you're doing this, like, a lot of what we talk about is stuff that you love. And it seems like outside of the, 90 minutes that we spend together every week, you exclusively watch things that are terrible, like on purpose.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Like my whole life. That's why maybe people think still that I'm really ironic on here. But when I said I was being earnest on this podcast, like it's because I really like this.
Yeah.
The rest of my life is spent looking at the Banksy tribute Twitter and watching Pentatonics video. It's like I'm just constantly poking a bruise all day.
Yeah, okay. So yeah,
That
that
was
was
actually therapeutic for me.
Yeah, so that was really bad, and I hated it.
Good.
Thanks,
Here's one
man.
that has 10 views, and I think it looks like it was uploaded by some sort of automated music automator.
Okay.
And it's basically just a weird computer cover, but the reason I'm playing it is because it says Blink-182 A New Hope Christmas is the title. So it's very seasonal.
So it's double thematic. I'm with it.
Yeah, so let's hear how Christmassy this is. Kept the whole intro there. I don't know. Does that sound Christmassy to you?
Yeah, man, the classic sounds of the season. I heard them all. Sleigh bells.
Just sitting around with your family, all of your hands being held with interlocking fingers.
Yeah. That's it. Just I love to hold hands with my family in the most intimate way possible while listening to computer-generated Blink-182 covers. That's Christmas for me.
I don't know. That sounded like shit. And also, the covers of this song are making me hate it more.
I know.
to be honest.
Because this is what I'm saying, is this song is amazing for, like, a period of time, and now it represents this, like, ugly, stupid thing. I also just want to go back for a second. Wicked Lucky, the, like, Kirkland cover,
Yeah.
do you think they're, like, from Boston, and it's, like, Wicked Lucky, or...
And they're going to, like, kill us? They're going to Boston beat down us?
Yeah. Or is it like one of those things where it's like, beautiful / crazy, like where they're bad but they're fortunate or something?
Oh, I bet you it's that, because that's a perfect, like, dad band name.
Yeah. As opposed to, again, unless they're from Southie, in which case I respect them and I'm sorry.
I do, yeah, I don't know. But I will say this, what we're talking about. I think that this is revealing to me why I've never liked the song, which is that there's just not much there. Like, when we scrutinize these songs, they either reveal themselves to be we were wrong about them or we were right to love them. But this one, as we keep scrutinizing it, I'm like, there's really not much going on other than the collection of references.
It's funny. If this song was like 90 minutes, I think it'd be amazing. But it's the fact that it's like so drawn out that makes it feel like it should have more substance to it. But
You mean 90 seconds?
What did I say? Did I say 90 minutes? Sorry, man. I was just thinking about the length of this podcast.
It's a feature-length film, like Star Wars.
It is, yeah. So, yeah, it's just it's clever and it's fun, but it's light. I mean, that's all it's supposed to be. But I don't know. It's sort of.
But like even when Blink-182 is being effortless with their ideas, there's usually something more there that you can latch onto. I don't know, but yeah, let's keep playing through. There's only a couple more that I'm gonna make you listen to.
Okay.
Check out this guy, the poet Daniel Ortiz.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
This is only uploaded 9 months ago, and he's using
What's that font? Yeah.
It's like that's very like Austin Powers-y, is it not?
That is the Austin Powers font for sure.
But it's on a picture of who I can only assume is the poet Daniel Ortiz, holding up a pen and paper and like writing down his thoughts.
Yeah.
As he, yeah.
Just
so it's
woodshedding. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he has done his own cover of this. I don't know what his poetic spin is, but I guess we can find out.
You gotta. Just like.
I've got her in my head, and I wanna go to bed. And I know it sounds lame, but she's the girl of my dreams. And of course I'd do anything for her. I'd search the moons of Endor. I'd even walk naked through the deserts of Tatooine. Princess Leia, where are you tonight? And who's Leia?
Okay, if like Jason Segel played this for an underdeveloped love interest in like an early Judd Apatow film, it would be a charming highlight of the film because again, I think the core of the song is like decently clever. But that is like a true nightmare, and I don't understand why you would, bother sharing it. Also, like, why do you keep doing this thing where you act like you haven't heard the covers? Like where you're like, let's very curious to see what
Well, this one I was mostly looking at the photo. I skipped around like so quickly that I didn't really I hadn't really truly connected with it.
okay.
Yet.
Okay.
But I actually kind of liked it. It sounded like the Big Little Lies soundtrack.
Oh, I still haven't watched that show, so.
Oh, it's so good.
Well, now I know I should watch it.
Yeah, I don't know. That was like really funny.
But can you picture
like
Jason Segel playing that like really seriously while like Elizabeth Banks or something kind of like laugh, like half cries, and
Totally.
you can see her like forgiving him for whatever he's done wrong in the second act, like in her head.
Well, the thing about it for me is like I can't tell if he was trying to go for like a sort of post Sublime vibe or when I close my eyes and don't picture the Austin Powers font in the pen and paper, it almost sounds like Leon Bridges or something. It sounds like some like soul throwback R&B.
Yeah,
I kind of like it.
Yeah, that's fair, man.
How dare you say you don't know why I'd share? That was probably one of the best.
That's not what I said. It was just like it reminded me of seeing like when Andy Richter went back on Conan. I remember him like after he went to go do Andy Richter Controls the Universe, sort of making fun of how every celebrity when they go to like play their clip, like Conan or whatever late night host will be like, "Oh, and we've got a clip from your new movie," and they go, "Oh, do we? We have a clip?" And he's like, "You brought the clip," so they like kind of played that all out. I'm like, "Do we have a clip from my show? Oh, I didn't realize." It's like you came here with your publicist. Anyway,
I would like to have a publicist. I can't wait till we both have publicists and managers fighting about the pod.
Yeah, like separate, like we both have our own lawyers, our own respective teams.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think we've earned it that we can. I've got two more for you.
Okay.
We've earned it so that we can actually listen to some fucking pop punk because we've been listening to all this bullshit.
Yeah.
There's tons of like ukulele shit.
I don't want to hear
all that kind of garbage. But of course, Future Idiots are back with another fucking thing. I'm not going to play it because you know what? They've done nothing to the song. They literally, this time they did nothing.
Yeah.
They just play the song.
Because it sounds like an old Blink song. You can't Blink an old Blink.
More like present day idiots, if you ask me, guys.
Biting.
I've been workshopping that joke for the last 2 months.
I can see you've been watching a lot of John Oliver. That's that.
Yeah.
You're eviscerated the Future Idiots.
Exactly. Kafifi. So I can't figure out what this band is called, but the username is Big Lizard 23.
Okay, I love that.
Here, just look at what they look like, just so you can get a feel. They look just like a classic teen band. One of them's wearing basketball shorts. One of them has long hair and like dumpy jeans. And like when I clicked this, I thought this is gonna sound bad. And it's going to be funny, and I'm going to make fun of these people. But I was wrong.
Really?
They're sick.
Because they're like goofy, or just normal. They look normal goofy.
They look like normal teens being awkward or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is what it sounds like.
Okay.
Like, I feel like they've captured the spirit of those old videos.
If you just played that for me, because it sounds like distorted over my headphones, and obviously the recording's kind of distorted. If you just played that for me with your prelude about Blink playing in Montreal, like that sounded like Blink to me. Like it was great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, again, we talk so much about how modern pop punk bands are so slick and they get too good at everything, kind of. But really, this proves what has always been true is like, all you need is a drummer who can just barely play it, and then everything else falls into place. Because like that, the drums are a tiny bit off, and someone comments that like he misses a few cymbal hits or something. But that's what makes it charming. It's like barreling ahead.
Totally. I love the Big Lizard Boys.
Yeah, I think that's what they're called.
Yeah, whatever.
And the basketball shorts are a really good look.
Yeah, it's very like your kind of hardcore.
Yeah, exactly. So the last one I'm going to show you. There's this compilation, Pacific Ridge Records, tribute to Blink-182.
Mm-hmm.
I think like 4 Years Strong and all those kind of fucking bands are on it.
Sick.
Yeah, but this band is called Straight Outta Junior High, which sounds really like a fake band name. I don't know, but I feel like you might like it because they gave it like this metal intro.
Oh, okay. I'm a simple man.
So yeah, exactly. So it just sort of turns into a regular pop punk cover after that.
Yeah, it's so disappointing because I was like, yes, I just want to listen to Halloween now or whatever, and that was like not. It didn't deliver for me in the end. But like that intro was sick. It reminds me of. Have you ever listened to Galactic Empire?
No, I haven't. To be honest, I'm not really like a huge metal guy.
Right. Well, they just do like really shreddy metal versions of all of the Star Wars themes. So it's a bunch of things that I'm not really sincerely recommending for you. But it's like that exact vibe where it's all like the big, like, you know, operatic leads to kind of open things up. And
that kind of stuff is really fun. Like when I grew up in Vancouver, the punk and hardcore scene, like I was talking about last week, Sealand Hall and stuff, around that time was when 3 Inches of Blood formed.
Oh, yeah.
Most of 3 Inches of Blood is actually former members of a Christian metalcore band. The original lineup is mostly ex-Christian metalcore people. And 3 Inches of Blood was an ironic in-joke that basically just they got too good at being an Iron Maiden joke that then they became a real band and replaced every single member.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it's just weird how, like, metal is kind of like almost impossible to do ironically because if you do it too well, then it turns into the real thing.
Yeah, you can only be so serious about something you're pretending to joke about.
Right. Like this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So, Josiah, do you have final thoughts on A New Hope?
Honestly, I'm kind of glad it's over and done with. I don't love this song, and I thought I would like it more, and I just kind of like it less. And I guess I will have seen the new Star Wars by the time this comes out. Mostly I enjoy putting caramel M&Ms in popcorn. So that's what I'm excited about. And I think that's about it. It's just like, I feel like we've really covered a lot of Dude Ranch territory lately, and I've really enjoyed it, and I'm hoping we can move on to something else. Maybe a different band or something. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a great accidental Scott season, but yeah, it might be time for us to sort of, spread our wings and move away from this one record. I think the song, like, great for a moment in time, maybe is sort of part of the unfortunate foundation of a really annoying part of YouTube and just general kind of like geek culture. But Star Wars is sick and Blink-182 is sick. So how can this be a truly bad thing?
And I just want to shout out everyone who's going to tell us all the things we missed or got wrong or whatever. Like, okay. Sorry. Sorry we missed all that stuff. You nerds.
And now here's an interview with Jake Goldsby about A New Hope, the Blink-182 song.
I have to admit, wearing headphones like in my house feels weird.
Yeah, I mean, wearing headphones in your house is weird. Also, like, I don't know what your living situation is like, but like, when I'm recording, I'm usually like in a back room, like by a television, trying to not like annoy my wife as much as possible. So
yeah, my girlfriend's not home from work yet, but I'm very worried she's going to walk in while we're having some inane conversation and just shake her head in disgust.
Yeah, it's true. You're going to absolutely get broken up with just before Christmas because of doing this podcast, for sure.
I mean, of all the reasons,
it's a good one.
I've had words.
Yeah, both for you to like the podcast is definitely more important than your relationship. I'm sorry, but also for your girlfriend, I can kind of see her point too. So I think you kind of both get what you're saying at that point.
Yeah, if I walked in on her doing like a Blink-182 act, that's a lie. If I looked at my girlfriend doing a Blink-182 podcast, I would be like, yes, that's awesome.
That's fair. We like 2 weeks ago, maybe, I think I talked to George Pettit for the podcast, and it was the exact same thing where he was like hidden in a room upstairs in his house, and he's like, and I told my wife, like, I'm doing a pop punk podcast, like, just because I don't want her walking in, like, just, and then we talked about how both of our partners don't like pop punk at all. And then later on, I saw her tweet, like, walked in on George doing a Blink-182 podcast. Our marriage counselor is definitely going to hear about this or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like my girlfriend absolutely does not like pop punk either, but I feel like she's just accepted, like, my lot. Or her lot in life.
Yeah, I think it's like, I mean, it's either that or break up with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they don't really have a choice. And if the worst thing, like, I don't know about you, but I've been like a pretty good guy my whole life. And if the worst thing about me as a guy in 2017 is that I love pop punk, like, I think probably everyone's okay with that. You know what I mean?
And, you got to make sacrifices. Like, I'm not going to make her sit down and listen to, a test pressing of Josie's single or something, but
yeah, that's good.
Not that I have that.
No. You're a very reasonable man.
Well, let's not give me too much credit yet.
Okay. Do you mind if I record?
Oh, have we not been recording?
No, I was recording. It starts recording automatically, but I feel like I got to do it just to make sure, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
It's important to have you on this episode, Jake, because when this podcast was just an idea in, my heart and Josiah's heart, I actually ran into you in real life for the first time because we only know each other from baseball and punk Twitter, which is sort of like two concentric circles on top of each other.
I don't think there's a Venn diagram situation there.
No, it's just it's just sort of a splotch. So we knew each other from that Twittery splotch. And then I saw you in person at a Jeff Rosenstock show in Toronto. Yes. And I was like hanging out in a cove by the bathroom, and you were literally probably seconds removed from having finished, I hope, washing your hands, but at least definitely using the washroom.
Yeah, that's right. And then you were there outside the bathroom, and I was like, oh, hey.
Just standing around, I was like, hey, man, I know you from Twitter. And you were like, what? This is so unsettling. And
no, it wasn't even unsettling. It just like, well, I mean, like, that's always kind of a weird sentence, but I've said it. I've said it so many times that it doesn't really faze me, but then I had to like rack in my brain of like, that's Sam. Okay, cool. This is fine. And
it's the sentence is weird. The sort of specificity of the setting was kind of weird. Anyway, later on that night, I think we had a slightly more normal conversation. I was like, I'm thinking about doing this super dumb podcast. What do you think? And you were like, that's super dumb, but kind of entertaining sounding. And
I very genuinely thought you were kidding.
Yeah, no. And now this is the, 23rd episode. So no. I've never kidded in my life.
I thought it was a great idea though. I was partially annoyed that I didn't have the idea.
Well, this is a chance for you to redeem yourself because you did say, and at that time I was sort of petitioning everyone I talked to. I was like, and then we're thinking guests and like, what would you do if you could do a song? And unless I'm totally misremembering things, I feel like you told me that A New Hope was like kind of your jam. Now,
I feel like that. I mean, I don't remember a lot of that evening.
That's what I was going to say. Is like this was well after the show was done, and there was like 5 of us still drinking in Hard Luck. So
but I do believe you're correct.
Okay, and
I have a vague recollection of that.
So this episode came around because Josiah finally caved to my need to do tentpole programming and release a Star Wars episode, on the same day of the release of The Last Jedi. And I was like, gotta ask Jake if he's down to do it. And you were. And I really want to know then, like, what it is about A New Hope that so attached itself to your soul that at the end of that Jeff Rosenstock show, you were like, that's my jam.
Well, I mean, it's a Blink-182 song about Star Wars.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And it's from that early Blink. It's from that era where like we all got into Blink. And when you're an 10, I don't know what year it was, but 10 or 11-year-old boy, and Blink-182 has a song about, faux heartbreak that you don't really understand but feel like you've experienced.
Yeah.
and also Star Wars, like even if it was a terrible song, which I don't think it is, but like if it sucked, it would still be my jam.
So
like
did you not think you had gone through real heartbreak yet at 11 or 12? Like you weren't.
I fully thought I had.
When you originally listened to A New Hope, what was the like relationship that you were conjuring in your mind? Like, was it?
I feel like it's that general. I don't know. Maybe other people had a more fulfilling experience than I did as children, but it was, when you're 10, 11 and a song has the line, every night I fall asleep with you and wake up alone. Like, I don't think it matters if it's a real relationship or not.
Yeah, that's fair. As long as you're just sort of conjuring something in your mind. It's important actually to note just now that after discussing our secret shame of doing podcasts about Blink, my wife, Ashley, has just returned home in time to see me talking about A New Hope.
Yeah, I give us like 20 minutes before my girlfriend Cassie gets home, and we're in the red there.
Okay, well, let's make sure that we're not sort of like both getting in an intense amount of trouble. So was this like the Blink record for you? Like, was this the one that like fully kind of introduced them into your teenage world or adolescent world?
I've been thinking about that since you asked me to do this, and like, I don't really know. I know that I definitely was aware of them. Like, I was aware of Josie and Damn It for sure.
Yeah.
From like Much Music. But I don't think I really got like heavily into them until What's My Age Again came out.
Really? But see, this might be like an age difference thing. Cause you earlier said you were in your 20s. Like, how old are you?
I'm 29.
Right. So that's like enough. Like I'm 32.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's enough of a chasm. Like with like my wife is 2 years older than me, and she constantly thinks that I like the wrong album from all of these bands that we both like.
Yeah. And I think, and like, I don't even really like today. I don't love Enema of the State, but I remember, but even once I got into them, I definitely liked Dude Ranch more than Enema of the State immediately.
Yeah.
Like once I think, I don't know which actual CD I bought first. That I don't remember, but I know What's My Age Again was my, like, the gateway.
Right, but then because you're a man of taste, ultimately Dude Ranch stole your heart properly.
Yeah, and like on my phone right now, on my saved Spotify albums, Dude Ranch is on there and Enema is not.
That's good. So, that's good to know. That's an important way to defend yourself.
My very cool cred.
Now, like, was Blink really popular ever on set? Like, you've done a lot of acting. I don't know when you started acting. Like, how young were you when you were sort of...
I started when I was like 5.
Oh, shit. Okay, so, like, tell me about Blink being jammed by the kids in the TV and film and theatrical world.
I mean, in my experience... It wasn't really, because for some reason, and maybe this was my just like assumption and I was totally wrong, but like I always found that like Blink is like cooler now in my circle than they've ever been, which is weird.
That's fair. Well, I don't know, maybe like because
I feel it's probably because of the circle itself and not like that, like their popularity.
Yeah, maybe you just have cooler friends now.
Maybe, but like I remember I had one friend that I took an acting class with every weekend when I was like, this would have been just before Mark, Tom, and Travis show, I guess, because I remember it coming out.
Yeah.
While in this class, and I remember I had one friend who he and I like fucking loved Blink-182. But other than that, it was kind of like even amongst the like pop punk, like the kids who liked pop punk, Blink were always kind of like the lame ones.
Right, because it's like too mainstream, and are you saying that your friends were proper heads?
No, they absolutely were not proper heads.
No,
I cannot,
they were just snotty.
I cannot stress that enough.
Yeah.
But it was like, because they were, maybe it's because they were like goofy, but I don't know. They were just, I know that they were never regarded, I guess, the same way. And like, it's funny to me now when I think about it, because like Green Day were so regarded. And it's like, so again, they're not like heads. Like everyone fucking loved Green Day.
No, they were just serious, maybe. Just like too severe for something that was fun.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But like, it's funny to me, and like I loved Green Day too, don't get me wrong, but it's funny to me now as a 29-year-old person who thinks about these bands too much, like how much more I enjoy Blink now than I enjoy Green Day.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've really tried to draw a line in the sand on this podcast that somehow, like, you can't like both, and that Green Day is an infinitely inferior band, which is not really what I think, but it's just sort of how things have shaken out.
It's not really what I think either, but like, in the last calendar year, I've seen both of those bands for the first time in my life, and enjoyed Blink-182's show so much more.
Really?
Yeah.
Because this has been like a fairly constant theme, is like how bad they are live. And
I've heard you say this, and maybe it's because I missed like the live Tom years.
Not that those are very good either, but yeah.
Or I'm like you. I know you and I have talked this before. Like I am also a Matt Skiba fanboy.
Yes.
But like Alkaline Trio is to this day one of my favorite bands. Like I own Cuts by Matt Skiba and The Secrets.
Oh, it's a good record.
It's good. It is good. But like I also own it. Like I spent money.
That's fair. I don't think I own that. I do think that I own the split with Kevin Seconds, which is
the acoustic. I like that one a lot.
It's great, man.
That was a big high school, like grade 9, grade 10 album for me.
Yeah, a lot of those songs ended up on some very sad mix CDs that I made.
Oh yeah, yes they did.
Like Good Fucking Bye. Oh,
Good Fucking Bye, or what's that? The second track on that right after. I can't remember, but it's really good.
The City That Day. That's a nice one. Anyway.
I might listen to that when we're done here.
So you're saying your girlfriend's going to go home to you doing a Blink podcast and then listening to acoustic Matt Skiba songs. Dude.
From 15 years ago,
yeah. You got to put on like some Trail of the Dead or something that makes you at least seem like 90s edgy. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But no, I thought that like, I mean this like with no irony or cynicism. I thought that the Blink show last summer like fucking ruled. I thought they sounded great.
Well, I had a great time. It's just one of those things where like, I mean, I was a bit end of the show when the show even started. And
yeah,
then
I also went in, I don't know what, but I went in with very low expectations.
Yeah. No, I had a blast. Don't misunderstand me. But you had never seen them before that. Like you didn't see them when you were a kid ever.
No, I remember having discussions with my friend in this acting class, but going to the Pop Disaster tour.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know why we didn't. And it's one of those shows to this day. I'm like, why didn't we go to that?
Would you say it's the biggest mistake in your life up until now?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, that seems
not going to see Green Day and Blink-182 at the Molson Amphitheater in like 2001 or 2000.
I mean, that does sound really, really good, right?
It's just so good.
Yeah.
Like right in the peak of liking them and like arguably the peak of their careers.
Yeah. So we tried to get into your like 11 to 12-year-old love life, but what about your like 11 to 12-year-old Star Wars obsession? Because you said, yeah, it's one thing if it's like a lost love song, but it also is like constant Star Wars references. So like, were you into it back then?
Oh yeah. I got into Star Wars real young.
Yeah.
I don't I was actually on this conversation the other day with someone. I don't remember. I know it was obviously like probably my father showed it to me.
Yeah.
When I was really young, but it wasn't like I have friends who have stories of like, I remember when my dad first showed me A New Hope, and like, well, I don't remember it exactly, but I do know that as soon as I watched it, I was like all in.
Yeah, because they're like the greatest films ever. Like, it's still like, I think Empire is the greatest film of all time. Like, I have not grown out of it. I have a very adolescent love of these films.
I'm seeing the new one on Thursday.
Oh, sick. So you're locked and loaded. You're ready to go.
Oh yeah. No, of all the things in my life that I've gone through, including blank of like phases of like, this isn't cool, so I'm going to pretend I don't like it. Like, Star Wars has been a pretty constant, like, I love this thing.
You never pretended you didn't love Star Wars.
No, not really. I don't think so.
And did you have any sort of particular infatuation, Mark Hoppus style, with Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia?
Mean, didn't we all?
Yeah, I'm just checking. Like, I don't want to make assumptions.
No, it's fair. But yeah, it was definitely, I don't know if it was quite as put into words as this song is.
You don't know if you were that verbose about it. Yeah.
No, but like, absolutely. I feel like, especially for, maybe our generation who saw it, who are kind of like the second generation of Star Wars fans, so to speak.
Yeah.
I feel like we see it so young that like we have an infatuation with Carrie Fisher before we even like know what it is.
Even before you know what to do with those feelings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, I was listening to the song today, and like there's references in the song that like when I was a kid, absolutely would not understand, but still loved.
Are you thinking about the Lando one?
Yes, I am exactly thinking about the Lando one.
Yeah, I don't think I thought about that until I also started listening to it today, and I was like, oh, because I think I probably only saw those ads a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And like, it's kind of a clever line if you like look back at it.
Yeah. What do you remember what you thought that it meant though when you were like 12?
I don't even know if I knew that's what he was saying.
Yeah, that's fair. But
like,
it is like a really clever line.
Yeah, and like it's a pretty. I mean, it's definitely a Mark song. Like it's a pretty lot of words quickly. And so like I feel like a lot of the stuff when I was a kid, like I didn't even catch.
Was there anything else that jumped out at you when you revisited the song today?
Yeah, there was one that I've had a line that I've had. I have to look it up now and try to remember it. But there was a line that I had wrong forever as a kid's. Oh, when he says even though I'm not as cool as Han, I still want to be your man line.
Yeah.
I thought literally until maybe last week that the line was even though I'm not as cool as him. Which is not as good a line.
Not nearly as good of a line. Yeah, so you had to like revisit the song and almost double how much credit you were giving him as a songwriter. Yeah.
I mean, like I feel my appreciation for Mark Hoppus it ebbs and flows, let's say.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, this is like in retrospect, as much as this was my jam when I was younger, like this song fucking rules.
Yeah, 100%. Would you say that where is your appreciation of Mark Hoppus right now?
It depends what Blink song I'm listening to at a given time.
Okay, but like as a person coming off listening to A New Hope.
Oh, Mark Hoppus is awesome. And like I think I genuinely do think Mark Hoppus is awesome. Like in most things he does.
Yeah.
It's just some of his 2016, 17 songwriting just makes me really angry.
Yeah, I think that's you're not alone in that. And also sometimes I find like as much as I love his like dad vibes on Twitter, sometimes that'll like make me feel weird.
I love his Twitter so much.
It's 95% great, but then sometimes he'll like really biff a joke in a way that I'm like, I don't know, man.
But I kind of love that. Like Twitter is so horrible and cynical, and he's just like so earnestly shitty at it.
Yeah, that's fair. And he does a lot of good like retweet sprees where half of the things that he tweets are incredible and the other half are like really bad too. And you're like,
like he's not trying to be good at it, which is what I like. He's just like, and I guess like when you're when you have Mark Hoppus money, you don't have to. But
yeah, you don't have to be good at much. Do you think someone runs his Twitter for him? This is a thing that like Josiah sort of had various takes about that I honestly can't keep track of.
I don't, but I think probably around the like California promo time, someone probably did.
Okay. So that's like some nuance to the conspiracy theory.
Yeah, but I think in general, I want to believe in general that it's fine.
Okay. Also, to blame Josiah for something, he made a point. He said, as I was saying, we were going to talk shortly, and he and I are talking after this. Can you please talk to him about Degrassi the whole time? I know he's probably sick of it. Was there ever any, like, Blink-related subplots on Degrassi? Is there any way we can shoehorn this into the conversation for Josiah?
I wish. I would have enjoyed it much more if there were Blink-182 references.
Yeah. Was there ever any, like, pop-punk shit on Degrassi at all?
I don't think when I was there. Like, when I was there, like, the bands, quote-unquote, it's all very, like, early 2000s, like, generic Canadian rock.
Oh, shit.
Like,
That's
like when the girls play music, like, it all sort of sounds like Avril Lavigne first album. And, like, when the guys play music, it sort of sounds like, like Bedouin Soundclash was popular then, maybe. I don't know.
Shit.
Sam Roberts.
Yeah, okay. Those are some great Canadians.
I believe, my memory could be wrong, though, but I believe Taking Back Sunday did guest on an episode.
Really?
I think so. I feel like I have a memory of that happening because I feel like I have a memory of being like, fuck that, because I like Brand New. But I didn't tell anyone that, and now I feel like I'm not allowed to say that in like Brand New.
Yeah, that's fair. But you didn't know you can't blame your younger self for not knowing things that you couldn't have possibly known.
That's true. but like, and I could also be like, this could totally be a thing that I've just made up in my head over the last decade.
Right.
That like didn't happen, but I'm pretty sure they were on the show. I don't think I met them, but I'm pretty sure that happened.
There's no doubt in my mind. Is everything okay on your end?
My cat just went nuts and knocked everything off the table.
I have had to, for the last 3 weeks, edit out so much of Josiah's cat, like knocking over his entire setup, because it seems like it's I have no idea what Josiah records with, but it feels like it's constantly like, just being held together with sort of some spit and a song, and his cat just destroys it constantly.
The cats just know. Like, you're doing something, like, vaguely important. Yeah. I'm going to get in the way.
Or maybe the cat, believes victims and finds this whole conversation celebrating Brand New to be quite distasteful. Maybe that's...
Yeah, the cat really loves Taking Back Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, like, this is also a very easily Googleable fact, and I'm not going to look it up, and I appreciate that you haven't either.
Well, I feel like I can't look it up because it's a thing I may have experienced firsthand. And now I'm like, I don't know.
I'm not sure. Yeah. Well, I'm going to leave this mystery for people, listening to the podcast to decide to Google or not Google and retain some mystery in their lives. But before I let you go, so that hopefully your girlfriend doesn't see you doing a Blink-182 podcast, Jake, is there anything in particular that you would like to promote at the end of a 2-hour podcast that, I mean, it's not really valuable promotional space, but why not?
I was going to say, sadly, I don't, but maybe in that context, it's thankfully I don't.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to debase yourself at this point.
I mean, I feel like if this is the least debasing thing I do, then I'm doing okay.
That's good. Well, congrats on that. And thank you for being part of the, cycle of people that I talked to about this podcast who made the mistake of telling me that it was a vaguely amusing idea.